Om Prithvi Shantirantariksha Shantir Dyav Shantir Disha Shantiravantara Disha Shantiragni Shantir Vayu Shantiraditya Shantish Chandrama Shantir Shantir Vanaspataya Shantir Gau Shantiraja Shantirashva Shantir Purusha Shantir Brahma Shantir Brahmana Shantir Shantireva Shanti Shantir Me Astu Shantihi. May there be peace on earth and in the sky. May there be peace in the water and in all directions. May there be peace in the plants, in the trees, and in animals. May there be peace in the hearts of all beings. May there be peace in everyone and in everything. Sarvetra sukhinas santu, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhaved. May all be happy and healthy. May all see what is good, and may no one experience misery. May all overcome their obstacles and acquire good tendencies. May people everywhere find joy and fulfillment.
Good morning, everyone. Today I am reading from the book Being Spiritual, Staying Practical by Swami Sarvagadananda. September 7, 1977. One must be extremely careful when away from objects of senses not to dwell on them in the mind. Be alert, constant, detached, discriminative. If you are in a situation where you can't work through things, if you are in a situation where you can't work things out through Karma Yoga, the way is to put them at His feet. Surrender everything to Him. Empty yourself and then light comes. Be constant. Keep up His name and thought. That keeps negative thoughts away. That thought of Him is like windshield wipers, keeping the mind clear. Otherwise, if you resolve sensate thoughts or any negative thoughts, karma is unresolved and crystallizes and then tips you off. Resolve it through sincere, conscientious prayer, prayer from the core of the conscience. Prayer is a soul-seeking attitude, the craving of the soul for truth, for God. It is not verbal. It is a movement of the total being, and you must act in harmony with the prayer in thought, word, and deed. If you pray for purity of heart, then think pure thoughts, keep pure speech, act in a pure way. Why does one lead a spiritual life? What is the purpose? To dedicate totally to spiritual life. That means spiritual living, not waiting every moment for realization, to utilize the time well for your spiritual purpose. Problems will be there, individual and collective. When you try to spiritualize, old tendencies resist strongly. The more we move toward the spiritual, the more obstacles will arise. The devil is waiting inside for a chance to tip us off. Therefore, we need study to gain intellectual conviction. When we doubt, at the same time, old tendencies try to attract us to the opposite. Whenever doubt comes, look at Thakur eye to eye. No doubt can remain. And never be monotonous. Let the bliss reflected in Thakur's face be the means as well as the end. We must keep up spiritual joy because that will hold us. Otherwise, samskaras present a case for the opposite. Be joyful in work, prayer, study. That one which we meditate is not dull or dead. It is full of bliss and love. Spiritual life is happy-go-lucky in the sense that devotees can have joy at every step. Any obstacle coming, put it at his feet. If Naren, Rakal, and all those brainy boys could sell themselves to him completely, then so can we. As Swamiji said, he molded their minds like wet clay. Make no show of spirituality. It is all inside, all secret. The best and most serious meditation is when you are alone, free, no time limit. That is the purpose of having more leisure so meditation can be free. At the same time, don't make it monotonous. In morning meditation, if the mood doesn't come, try hymns or japa or different ways of keeping the mind there. Through the day, if you sit, when you lose the feeling, get up and do something else, but keep up the trend through study or work or something, but don't give gap. Keep up the spiritual mood always. From the collective standpoint, people misunderstand and criticize, but let nothing disturb your mind. Never react, but reflect. Be a gentleman first, then a monk. Be a lady first, then a nun. That is, speak properly, be always courteous, have love, respect, and concern for all. Treat all like as friends, but always be detached and impersonal. Be neither disinterested nor exclusive. Be just like one among others because before God we are all the same, but keep up spiritual seriousness within. If you love thy neighbor as thyself, then God will love you. Make all feel at home, create no friction, then you will be able to meditate, because the same mind functions in these different situations. If you hurt even one person, you hurt God. If you hate even one person, you hate God. When temptations come, have the ability to say, get lost. Once you have spit it out, don't pick it up again. Dharma is what which you have publicly declared you will fulfill. You have accepted it yourself. It is not thrust upon you, and which is not contrary to virtue, that which holds us together. Once you have accepted a particular dharma, station or position or ideal in life, you may be imperfect in that, but don't give it up for something else, even though you may be able to do the other thing perfectly well. If your dharma is spiritual life, even if in the beginning you are imperfect in that, don't forsake it for something that you may be able to do more perfectly. The mind's restlessness must be controlled. Shakti is there, but it can be channeled into study and prayer and meditation rather than always jumping into activity. There must be regularity, and you must tell the mind, now it is time for study or meditation, otherwise mind will always find an escape. When tension or restlessness come, the mind must be curbed, and trained. Don't let it fool you. When tension is there, release it through reading or singing a hymn or japa. When restlessness comes, find out the cause. Analyze the mind in a calm, quiet way. When the feeling came, what caused it? If tension or depression come, ask the mind, why don't you take his name? Attraction and aversion are natural. Craving is natural, but never come under its sway. You have to curb it immediately. Fill the mind with Ramakrishna now. You must exert the will. You can put the mind wherever you want, but you have to exert the will. When you see negative things in the mind, don't identify with them. Yes, mixed motives may be there. Everybody without exception has negative things in the mind, but you must never identify with the negative. What you become is a matter of what you identify with. Always identify with the positive. Yes, negative things may be there, but if, through the grace of the Lord, you have got devotion, move towards the positive, be spiritual. You must always be humble with all. Blessed are the meek, and never be demanding of anybody except Thakur and your Guru in a spiritual way. Beware of mental and physical laziness and avoidance, but when you see them, don't identify with them. Just put everything at his feet and move towards the positive and spiritual. Put everything at his feet. That is the only way. Do everything as his work, and thereby lessen your burden and gain self-surrender. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm reading a short selection from a lecture that Swami Vivekananda gave in London, October 26, 1986, entitled God in Everything. The first impression we get of the advice given by religions is that we had better terminate our existence. To the question how to cure the evils of life, the answer apparently is to give up life. It reminds one of the old story. A mosquito settled on the head of a man, and a friend wishing to kill the mosquito gave it such a blow that he killed both man and mosquito. The remedy of evil seems to suggest a similar course of action. Life is full of ills. The world is full of evils. That is a fact that no one who is old enough to know the world can deny. But what is the remedy proposed by all the religions? That this world is nothing. Beyond the world is something which is very real. Here comes the difficulty. The remedy seems to destroy everything. How can that be a remedy? Is there no way out then? The Vedanta says that what all the religions advance is perfectly true, but it should be properly understood. Often it is misunderstood because the religions are not very clear in their meaning. What we really want is head and heart combined. The heart is great indeed. It is through the heart that come the great inspirations of life. I would 100 times rather have a little heart and no brain than be all brains and no heart. Life is possible, progress is possible for him who has heart, but he who has no heart and only brains dies of dryness. At the same time, we know that he who is carried along by his heart alone has to undergo many ills, for now and then he is liable to tumble into pitfalls. The combination of heart and head is what we want. I do not mean that a man should compromise his heart for his brain or vice versa, but let everyone have an infinite amount of heart and feeling, and at the same time an infinite amount of reason. Is there any limit to what we want in this world? Is not the world infinite? There is room for an infinite amount of feeling, and so also for an infinite amount of culture and reasoning. Let them come together without limit. Let them be running together, as it were, in parallel lines with the other. Most of the religions understand the fact, but the error into which they all seem to fall is the same. They are carried away by the heart, the feelings. There is evil in the world, give up the world. That is the great teaching, and the only teaching, no doubt. Give up the world. There cannot be two opinions that to understand the truth, every one of us has to give up error. There cannot be two opinions that every one of us, in order to have good, must give up evil. There cannot be two opinions that every one of us, to have life, must give up what is death. And yet what remains to us if this theory involves giving up the life of the senses, the life as we know it? And what else do we mean by life? If we give this up, what remains? We shall understand this better when later on we come to the more philosophical portions of the Vedanta. But for the present, I beg to state that in Vedanta alone we find a rational solution of the problem. Here I can only lay before you what the Vedanta seeks to teach, and that is the deification of the world. The Vedanta does not in reality denounce the world. The ideal of renunciation nowhere attains such a height as in the teachings of the Vedanta. But at the same time, dry, suicidal advice is not intended. It really means deification of the world, giving up the world as we think of it, as we know it, as it appears to us, and to know what it really is. Deify it, God alone. We read at the commencement of one of the oldest of the Upanishads, whatever exists in this universe is to be covered with the Lord. We have to cover everything with the Lord himself, not by a false sort of optimism, not by blinding our eyes to the evil, but by really seeing God in everything. Thus we have to give up the world. And when the world is given up, what remains? God. What is meant? You can have your wife. It does not mean that you are to abandon her, but that you are to see God in the wife. Give up your children. What does that mean? To turn them out of doors, as some human brutes do in every country? Certainly not. That is diabolism. It is not religion. But see God in your children. So in everything. In life and in death, in happiness and in misery, the Lord is equally present. The whole world is full of the Lord. Open your eyes and see him. This is what Vedanta teaches. Give up the world which you have conjectured because your conjecture was based upon a very partial experience, upon very poor reasoning, and upon your own weakness. Give it up. The world we have been thinking of so long, the world to which we have been clinging so long, is a false world of our own creation. Give that up. Open your eyes and see that as such it never existed. It was a dream, Maya. What existed was the Lord himself. It is he who is in the child, in the wife, and in the husband. It is he who is in the good and in the bad. He is in the sin and in the sinner. He is in life and in death. A tremendous assertion indeed. Yet that is the theme which the Vedanta wants to demonstrate, to teach and to preach. This is just the opening theme. Thus we avoid the dangers of life and its evils. Do not desire anything. What makes us miserable? The cause of all miseries from which we suffer is desire. You desire something, and the desire is not fulfilled. The result is distress. If there is no desire, there is no suffering. But here too there is the danger of my being misunderstood. So it is necessary to explain what I mean by giving up desire and becoming free from all misery. The walls have no desire and they never suffer. True, but they never evolve. This chair has no desires. It never suffers, but it is always a chair. There is a glory in happiness. There is a glory in suffering. If I may dare to say so, there is a utility in evil too. The great lesson in misery we all know. There are hundreds of things we have done in our lives which we wish we had never done, but which at the same time have been great teachers. As for me, I am glad I have done something good and many things bad. Glad I have done something right, and glad I have committed many errors, because every one of them has been a great lesson. I, as I am now, am the resultant of all I have done, all I have thought. Every action and thought have had their effect, and these effects are the sum total of my progress. We all understand that desires are wrong, but what is meant by giving up desires? How could life go on? It would be suicidal advice, killing the desire and the man too. The solution is this: not that you should not have property, not that you should not have things which are necessary, and things which are even luxuries. Have all that you want and more. Only know the truth and realize it. Wealth does not belong to anybody. Have no idea of proprietorship, possessorship. You are nobody, nor am I, nor anyone else. All belongs to the Lord, because the opening verse told us to put the Lord in everything. God is in the wealth that you enjoy. He is in the desire that rises in your mind. He is in the things you buy to satisfy your desire. He is in your beautiful attire, in your beautiful ornaments. This is the line of thought. All will be metamorphosed as soon as you begin to see things in that light. If you put God in your every movement, in your conversation, in your form, in everything, the whole scene changes, and the world, instead of appearing as one of woe and misery, will become a heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within you, says Jesus. So says the Vedanta and every great teacher. He that hath eyes to see, let him see. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. The Vedanta proves that the truth for which we have been searching all this time is present, and was all the time with us. In our ignorance, we thought we had lost it, and went about the world crying and weeping, struggling to find the truth, while all along it was dwelling in our own hearts. There alone can we find it.
Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Aviravir Mayethi Rudrayate Dakshinam Mukham Tenamam Pahi Nityam. May the Divine Consciousness lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the Divine Consciousness protect us and guide us. On several occasions, we have, during reflections here at the Vedanta Center, we have spoken about the importance of living in the present and about how past and future control us. Today I would like to say something about living in the present, because sometimes this is mistaken as a thought that we shouldn't be thinking about the future at all. And that's not really the idea behind living in the present. Because thinking about the future is natural, but thinking about the future is different from worrying about the future. These are two different things. We all make plans in life, and plans are for the future. And so even the planning that we do for the future, we do it in the present. And so there is value in planning. And a lot of planning we do without even thinking that, oh, it's a plan that I'm making. I mean, some of the plans have become a part of our life. We plan for, well, this winter is just over, but don't think it's gone forever. After a few months, the winter will come again. And so we know more or less the time when the next winter is expected. And so as the time draws near, we plan. We just make sure that everything that is needed to keep us warm is there. And that planning we start even before the winter arrives. Now, sometimes it may not be the question of time, it could be of place. If we are going on a vacation, and if that vacation includes camping or hiking, then we have to plan for it, that we have the sufficient gear needed, whether it's clothing, shoes, whatever needed for that kind of activity. So depending on the time, depending on the place, in the future, we make plans in the present. Sometimes we may not know either the time or the place. And generally, people try to have some savings in case of some unexpected expenditure that we might need in future. We don't know the time, we don't know the place, we do not know the reason, but we just have something saved, kept aside in situations about which we know nothing. So we do a lot of planning. And it's helpful, therefore, to ask ourselves that besides the kind of planning we do for winter, for vacations, for unexpected expenses in the future, are there any other things that could happen in our life which might need some planning in advance? And one of the things we realize sooner or later, that there will be times in life when we will be alone. And when we are growing up, clearly there is a family around us, there is a friend, and we have an increasing number of support system around us to be around. And which is good, which is nice, which is helpful, which we all need for our growth. But we do find that there will be occasions in life when there will be nobody around us. Not for a long time, but there would be times when we have to be by ourselves. So, do we have any plan for that? Because those who have developed some hobbies, or like reading or gardening, where we don't necessarily always need the company of other people, are able to handle this time when we are alone, when there is nobody around us. Otherwise, people feel very lonely. People get bored. The smartphones and television we try not to be alone by using these gadgets. Sometimes they work, but they have their limitations. So, do we have any plan about what to do, how to use the time productively when we are alone? Sometimes that aloneness could occur in the aging process, when we are in a nursing home. Sure, there'll be people visit us during visiting hours, but the rest of the time, there may not be anyone around. If I have not planned of how to spend my time by myself, I might find myself lost. And so this is something we could also consider. Have I taken that possibility? Well, this is not really a possibility. It pretty much happens in every life. We just don't know when and we don't know how. One other thing that could occur, and sometimes due to long hospitalizations. What do I want my mind to be thinking? And there would be, of course, there's one thing that we, again, don't know the time and place, the ultimate eventuality that we will die one day. And we don't even know, as I said, when it'll happen. But suppose sometimes, I remember years ago with some other monks we were discussing, which would sound like a very bizarre and a terrible subject. And that was, we were just saying, which kind of death is better? I know this is not a common topic of interest for everyone, but I think it's helpful for spiritual people to even think about it, because one day we are going to die, that's for sure. So, again, something that we can ask, do I want a kind of a long, gradual decline in my health? And so I kind of know that I'm reaching the end? Or do I want like a sudden zoop, gone? Now, there are kind of pluses and minuses on both sides. If you kind of go instantly, immediately, you don't have to, that generally kind of a pain and suffering and all that stuff, you just, boom, you go. On the other hand, this kind of a long, gradual march toward death has the advantage that you have time to prepare yourself for it. So the idea is we don't know. We don't know what kind of end will come in our life. But suppose we knew. Okay, let me put it this way. In an ideal situation, as spiritual seekers, as Vedanta students, what do I want my mind should be thinking when that last moment comes? And sometimes it doesn't even have to be death. Sometimes it could be pretty much, every surgery involves some amount of risk. Things could go wrong, which is why they make you sign all that stuff beforehand. And especially if it's like a major complicated surgery. And then, sometimes the medical profession, they are pretty open about it, like these are the chances of success and so on. So there are different kinds of surgeries and different levels of risks involved. So as a person is waiting for that major surgery to begin, and you're still conscious, you haven't been sedated yet. And if I'm in that position, what should I be thinking at that moment? Because there are chances the surgery might not succeed. That could be my last few conscious moments. What do I want my mind to be thinking then? And it's extremely painful. If at that moment, if I want to be thinking about God, thinking about my chosen deity, and I'm not able to do it. And so I think that's one of the things we could be considering. But this is among the planning for the future that we do. We do it for the winter, we do it for our vacations, we do it for so many other things. What plan do I have for this? Every time we sit for our prayer in japa and meditation, it's possible that might be the last japa I might be doing. I don't know what's going to happen after half an hour or 1 hour. And so if we kind of keep that hour of death, again, this has to be done in a very healthy, positive sort of way, because there is such a thing as an unhealthy, neurotic obsession with death. I don't recommend that, and it does no good to anybody. But as spiritual seekers, death should not necessarily be a taboo, a subject that should be avoided. It's just among the different stages of life that we go through, like childhood, youth, middle age, and so on, this is one of the stages. And the more we run away from it, the more we don't want to think about it, the more it chases us, the more we are afraid of it. At some point, we have to be strong enough to stop, turn back, look it in the eye, and then it'll lose its sting. I think it was Aristotle or Plato, I don't remember, who said that great philosophers are continually engaged in the practice of dying. So it is a spiritual practice in itself, but doing it in a positive, constructive sort of way. And so one thing that I have found helpful, and which you could try if you like the idea, is that every time you sit for your prayer or japa or meditation, just remind yourself that could be the last time in your life you are praying. That could be the last time in the life you are repeating the name of God. And you want your mind to be fully immersed in it because there may not be a second time in this life. I'm not going to give some very elaborate answers or solutions to any of these problems. I just wanted to mention this to stress the importance of planning for the future. We know that one who plans in advance is ready for any eventuality. So among the eventualities we consider in our life, these eventualities also need to be taken into account. The probability that at some point in our life, we have to spend small or extended periods of time by ourselves. How do I want to spend that time? And there will be, if we are lucky enough, there might be occasions or situation in our life when we would know inside, I am nearing the end of my life. If we are lucky enough to know that fairly in advance, how do I want to spend those last few days? And one final thought. There is a view in many Vedanta texts that the last moment, if I can think of God at that last moment just before my death, that is extremely helpful spiritually. That can in fact free me from this world. And so clearly one kind of a practical way of thinking would be, why should I be repeating the name of God all my life? If all that is going to make a difference is that just that last moment I have to think of God. I can do whatever I want and then just think of God at the last moment. And that's where the problem is. All of these prayers and meditations that we do throughout our life is really a test for that last moment before death. And if I have neglected to do that before, even if I remember to think of God at that last moment, I will not be able to do it. I'll be thinking of all useless things that time. That's what I have done in the early part of my life. So give some thought to the importance of planning for the future, not just from a financial and other aspects of our life, which is important, which we need to do, but also some of these other deeper eventualities in our life. Om Jananim Saratam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhur Muhur.